Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, a escort stole my dogs and the cops won't help, so I hunted her down myself. After that, fire us or cut our pay, enjoy a mass walkout. Finally, best college speaker ever. Before we get into today's episode, remember to subscribe so you never miss another episode of r/ProRevenge. A escort stole my dogs and the cops won't help, so I hunted her down myself. So it all started on Sunday the 26th of May. I was flying back home from Texas where I was at my girlfriend's sister's wedding. We had a layover in Vegas before our 1-hour flight back to Sacramento. I land in Vegas and I get reception. That's when my roommates call me and tell me how the door to our backyard gate was busted open and my beautiful husky wolf mix was missing. That dog is everything to me. She is 3 years old now and I've had her since she was 2 months old. She's been with me through all my breakup, my layoffs and my evictions. She was my only friend when all my other friends believed the rumors my ex said about me. Anyways, she is gone and I get home to start doing the usual, putting up flyers offering a reward and notifying every shelter, vet, and her chip company of her disappearance. I put notices on every lost and found page and suddenly it starts to go viral on Facebook. A lot of people really wanted to help me find my dog and I had eyes everywhere. I wake up one day to a Craigslist ad with a picture of an unknown girl hugging my dog with the ad titled "Found Husky," sent to me by a friend of mine. So I contact the ad maker. The lady was nice and explained how she didn't find my dog, but a friend of hers on IG found her. She watched her post pictures on IG and brag about how the universe brought me this beautiful it. She sent me screenshots of her Instagram and all the pictures she posted of my dog. She then tells me I don't know her personally, but she is a fellow escort. It turns out the girl who has my dog is an escort. So, she messaged the girl to tell her that she found the owner of the dog and she full deletes all posts about my dog and blocks the ad maker. So I think, alright, this is already viral. Game on it. I get all the people who have been searching including my detective aunt and we make a hunt. I file a police report and they are down to bust the chick, but I have to find where she is and holding my dog for them to do anything, which is pretty useless. I get people to start contacting one another. We found her legal name, all the addresses she is tied with including her boyfriend, mum, stepdad, possibly dad and stepmom's info. We even found 2 warrants for her arrest. She was charged with petty theft, hit and run involving property damage, lying to a peace officer and possession of contraband. After I found that info including her being an escort, which is illegal where I'm from, we had her. I dug up all her info including emails and phone numbers with her escort phone number. So I call this woman to confront her and she starts yelling at me about how I'm harassing and threatening her. This is the first time I've ever talked to the woman, and how she was going to press charges on me. She then said she brought my dog to her shelter. She also told me which shelter, 2 days prior. I confirmed that wasn't true. Meanwhile, I'm gathering all the proof I have that this dog is mine, which is 3 years of timestamped photos with me and the dog and the chip information that my dog is registered with and her being in my name with the chip company. She is told this and still refuses to give her back by saying I'm afraid to give the dog back because the owner is threatening me, which I never did and have proof of that. So now she is on blast on Facebook, Instagram and Reddit as well. I'll provide with more edits later. Update. So I'm not sure what more I can really do. The court fees to even try and get this itch is gonna break my bank and I already spent over $1,000 trying to find my dog. Then even trying to find and serve her with the court may not work, because the cops will only try 3 times before they say well you're on your own, and then I would have to hire a private investigator. I'm not sure what to do besides blast her so goddamn hard this ends up on every news station and radio station in the Sacramento region. Update again. Oh boy, so check this it out. The girl that stole my dog was with another girl when they found my dog. And boy does the plot thicken. They are both escorts. So the girl that stole my dog, let's call her Blonde Thief, and the girl she was with we will call her Red-Haired Thief. Blonde Thief left for San Francisco to work. She came back home early to find Red-Haired Thief was sleeping with Blonde-Haired Thief's boyfriend. And it gets better, mate. Red-Haired Thief beat Blonde-Haired Thief's ass, which involved the cops and a public police report. Boyfriend was taken to jail for domestic violence and so did red-haired thief. Now that is public record, I looked up the incident. Sadly there was no house address when I looked it up. I'll keep you updated. Final update. The red-haired thief contacted me and told me the blonde-haired thief took my dog to her dad's house. So I went detective and looked up who her dad is. I got his legal name, Facebook and phone number. I get a car with a beefy friend of mine and drive 1 hour to Valley Springs to where her dad lives. We pull up to the property and there is my dog running up to the fence to greet me. I open the gate and she tackles me. I put her in the car and call the cops. They arrive and do their damnedest to get him to answer the door, but the police chalk it up to him not being home. They take my statement and I explain everything down to each fine detail, including the escort in question having a record. They said they will be catching him and I will be pressing charges for animal endangerment and grand theft. She will also be adding a 3rd warrant on her record. So glad it's over. And my dog is so happy to see Maya again every day. The next day I get a message from my friend. Turns out the thief sent her a message on Instagram about contacting the police over me harassing her. My friend then commented, "You do realize the owner came to your dad's house and took her dog back while the police watched it happen? She told the police she is pressing charges on you and they are coming for you. Enjoy jail." And the thief flipped. She started threatening my friend and saying she's gonna fight her before calling her a faggot. Like, in all seriousness, hasn't she had her ass beat up enough this week? Fire us or cut our pay. Enjoy a mass walkout. Not sure if revenge or karma, but it fits revenge, I hope. Back in the early 2000s, I worked for a tech company who offered tech support, on-site support and training to organizations who either didn't want specialized IT staff or could benefit from outsourcing. The company consisted of the 3 directors, a sales department, finance, HR department, and tech department. Tech was further split, with a senior manager, 4 team managers, and each team having 2 section managers. For call center support, where I worked, we had 2 team leaders, 2 senior engineers, 2 normal engineers and 2 juniors. I was a standard engineer, earning $22,000 for a job that was worth at least $5,000 more outside of the low price area we all lived in. 2006, and I'm still stuck in this job, on the same pay. Conditions are worse than before, with no overtime, no flexi time, no financial compensation for industry qualifications, shortened breaks and no pay rise since I started. To make matters worse, they sold part of the land that the office was on to a developer, and on-site car parking was now for management only. We had to either pay to use the nearby council car park, or risk parking on the street. Morale was low, but despite bad pay it was still good for the area we lived in. One Friday in July, think it was the 21st, one of the senior engineers finds a document that he shares around the private chat app. It's a restructuring plan that the board voted in last week. Apparently, this had to be made available for the company for 3 months before any changes to terms and conditions could be made, so the board gave it a generic file name and tried to bury it in the large staff shared area of the network. One of the directors was selling his shares and moving on, having been headhunted by a large recruitment firm in a nearby city. The 2 remaining directors had managed to buy most of her shares with a small quantity going outside the company. This was the company response. Most of the document was a typical downsize, restructure package with a twist. A few team mergers, staff reductions and pay cuts spun, as if to say that they needed to maximize their profits to put the lost money back into the company. In October, a new contract would be released for all to sign, and was generic. In November, the restructure would be announced, and by the 1st of January, the new structure would be in place. The directors noted that the new contract needed to include clauses for non-competition and for soliciting customers, as these didn't exist except for the sales staff. It also mapped current positions to their new ones, and what the new salary would be. I would be down by £5,000 a year. But the twist was that anyone with the word manager in their title would have their pay increased drastically. The team manager's pay jumped from $52,000 to $65,000 for example. By the end of the day, everyone under the rank of team leader had seen this document and was not happy. Over the weekend, I got a text message from one of the senior engineers inviting me to a barbecue at his house. When I got there, most of the tech staff was there, and during the afternoon we formulated a battle plan. Our revenge. Monday the 24th of July, 8 AM. 26 people in the tech team arrived for work as normal, each with a letter for the senior manager giving their 1-month notice, and all quoting the clause in their contract that states that members of the technical team with access to confidential company information must be off-site and on gardening leave the same day as they hand in their notice. No exceptions will be given. Gardening leave is a term used to say that we still work for the company, have handed in our notice to quit, but can't remain on site or using company resources, so must wait out the remainder of the notice at home. We can't start a new job within that period. The net effect was that at 9:30 AM, the director realized that his entire tech staff had quit and marched to the office floor and started harassing one of the seniors. The senior simply stood, took off his ID badge and swipe card, handed it to the director and told him, "I've already quit. This is me now sticking to my contract." On cue, most of the staff followed, with one member staying until lunchtime. From what I've been told, directors, senior managers, anyone they could get hold of were on the phones attempting to fix issues. The unsolved open queue went from around 35 to nearly 100 by lunchtime, and naturally the blame was left firmly at the door of those who quit. We were even bad-mouthed to customers. The day after our notice period expired, the senior engineer welcomed 25 new staff to his new company, and had already taken 10 large contracts from the place we used to work for. We all had better pay, not much, but it was better than losing pay, and much better conditions, with an actual career track rather than the whim of the managers. The old company tried to keep afloat for a year, but were losing money on every contract and couldn't afford to employ skilled or experienced people. They closed down in June of 2007, with the owners having to sell personal assets to pay debts, and the 2 remaining directors declaring personal bankruptcy too. I left the new company in 2010 as the market had changed and more companies were hiring staff than outsourcing, so contracts were harder to find, and I also had some minor medical issues that meant I needed to be near home. New company is still going strong though, having lent more towards web design and development than anything else these days. Best college speaker ever. When finishing up my degree in criminal justice, we had to learn about how the justice system works and how sometimes it doesn't. For about 2 weeks we studied a case from the early 90s of a woman that had killed her husband. Because the case is public record and a very interesting read, look up Betty Freeburg 1993. The setting was small town Iowa and the husband was the town drunk. Everyone in town knew him for a drunk, a brawler, a womanizer, and overall just a bad person. His wife was the stay-at-home mom. She wasn't allowed to work or leave the house aside from get groceries. He would go home, beat her and violate her sexuality, and the cycle would go on, and the whole town knew. Neighbors were a quarter mile down the road, but still would call the police when they heard noises. It was well documented, and because he was never a threat to their daughter, the police did nothing aside from take him to jail like a revolving door. Each time he got out, he'd beat her up again. Their daughter was away at college, but came home for Thanksgiving. While the father was at work, the daughter told the mother that her father had violated her sexuality and that she had even had an abortion because of it. This was the breaking point for the mother. She got her revenge 100-fold. When daughter went back to school after the holidays and husband came home, she killed him with his gun at the kitchen table. The table is important because it was a big farm table used for chopping up deer and other livestock. Doing the butchering was her job and she was good at it. If I could find the case report, it has pictures of the table and clear marks of chopping. She chopped up her husband and scattered his body over neighboring farms, fed what she could to her livestock and cleaned up. Months went by and winter came and left. Police investigating his disappearance even questioned her while sitting at the table drinking coffee. She explained the marks on the table by explaining that she butchered her own meat and showed the officers a deep freeze. The investigation went on for months until finally a neighbor's dog brought back a body part. They identified it as belonging to him and she was arrested on the spot. She pleaded not guilty and refused any offers. It went to trial and 12 of her peers judged her not guilty due to extenuating circumstances. She confessed to the crime, explained why she did it and how, and that she had no real choice, because no one was going to help her. The farm was hers and she refused to give it up, as it had been her family's home. She was let go entirely for the murder charge. The next week we had Betty as a speaker to the class to discuss the case, and she was awesome. At the time she ironically sold dismemberment insurance for a flack. Betty, if you ever read this, know you're seen as a figurehead for battered women and you pulled off the best revenge I have ever been able to study.